All right, guys, welcome to the Talk Real to Me podcast. My name is Macaulay Stahowski. I'm your host. Today we have Eric Rocha. He is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. He serves the military for us, so we're going to get to know a little bit about him. Excited to have him on the podcast. Today's topic is hoorah. Hoorah. So we're excited to have you on, man. Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Hope you enjoy this 30-minute or so episode.
Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Been looking forward to it, man. You guys got a great space. This is awesome. Feeling the vibe, feeling the welcome wagon with the breakfast and the crew and everybody. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Some mimosas too.
The mimosas were very great.
Good.
Yeah.
I love
it. A little heavy on the pour, but that's okay. Saturday.
I love it. That's what we're here for. Make it a good vibe and, make it easy for you.
Vibing. No, for sure. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Where you're from, school, everything, You're from the Central Valley. So
Valley boy. Yeah. Valley boy, born and raised here in Fresno. Went to San Joaquin Memorial High School, so where I met Macaulay, where I met our podcast host here. My dad was in the Marine Corps. My parents had me pretty young, so I still remember him going into the Marine Corps, going to boot camp, graduating from boot camp, being an actual Marine. He did 4 years like I did, just one enlistment. So we grew up down south when my dad was in the Marine Corps. So San Diego, went to a couple of schools there, kind of military brat. So I went to a couple of schools as I was younger. And then, came back home to Fresno and kind of lived here until I finally fled the coop at 19 when I went to boot camp and kind of set me on my path, set me on my adult path from there. So it
took a whole career at a young age. 19. That's
is a life-changing decision, and obviously you knew me at that time. I needed something to course correct because the way I was going, we were going. It was I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get into some of those stories.
Yeah, for sure.
At what your decisions were.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I saw you grow in that aspect.
Right.
Because you could have went one path.
Yeah.
And that would have been fun to watch also, if I'm being honest. But the path that you chose was more fun. Seeing you now too.
Appreciate that.
You got a family. You got some little ones that are in there too.
Same to you, my brother. For sure.
We're grown. So
growing up.
It's cool to watch that.
Doing our best.
Yeah. So you mentioned your dad being in there.
Yeah.
Is that what made you choose your career, or what was?
100%. I mean, at least that part of it. Seeing my dad as, obviously, and your dad was the same way. Just that strong adult, male figure. Had that, and right away I kind of knew, okay, I want to put on that uniform. I want to, have that, from an outsider's perspective. I can see that it was a culture and just a totally different kind of way of having a living when you're in the military, and especially in my opinion, when you're in the Marine Corps, even more, a little more selective than the other branches. So I knew I wanted to do that. I didn't know anything about the opportunities once you got in there, and how how in any military branch it's broken down, and you still have a job. You're not just a Marine or a sailor or whatever. You go in there and you can be a mechanic, or you can be like a radio operator like I was. You could be an infantryman. Obviously your brother-in-law was a pilot, and everything in between, right? So that's the thing. There was a lot of opportunity that I didn't understand or know until I started to ask those questions, go in and start talking to the recruiter. You came in, talked to the recruiter with me. That's how you earned that shirt, I think, that you got on right now.
I did. We can hit that since we're on the topic. So one of the parts I loved is, I had a feeling that you were going to go that route.
Yeah.
Gosh, I want to say it was about my senior year.
Yeah.
Just your family being in it.
Yeah.
We can even go to your grandpa.
My grandpa was in the Air Force too. Yeah, my grandpa was big time.
You have a rich history of it in your family. So you had the mindset of it too. Mm-hmm, so I had that feeling that, I didn't know when you would go.
Sure.
But I do remember you would go to trainings. Was it every 2 times a week, or what was
something
that?
like that? Yeah, something like that. So before, basically, you go talk to a recruiter, find out, hey, is this for me? Ask questions, whatever. And it's funny. I have a friend now who was a recruiter. So now I know all the kind of back end stuff that that they were really working me for. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So you go talk to a recruiter, and they'll tell you, okay, here, like I said, here are your opportunities. You can do, A, B, C, or D, and we can hook you up with these. You get all these benefits and yada yada yada. So you do that, but once you can go there and start training with them.
Okay.
Whenever. Obviously, like I said, we brought you to a training with us. I'll talk about that here in a second. We brought you to come work out with us. But when you actually, it's called when you dep in. So you go to Sacramento. In this case, in California, you go to Sacramento, and that's where the main recruiting station, RS, for the Marine Corps is. You go there, and you got to wear a tie and tuck in your shirt, and you spend 4 hours, going through all kinds of medical tests or whatever. At the end of the day, you got to go and stand in this little room, and you got to go up there and put your right hand up and swear, to protect the oath. And at that point, they don't got you, but they kind of do, like it's official.
Okay.
At that point, I think we kind of signed a contract at that point, so they kind of got you. So then after that, they expect you to come do more training. If you come every day and do that, that's even better for you. So it just kind of depends, because then they can hook you up to your recruiters, and they can set you up with a bonus at a certain point of your career when you got out of boot camp, or set you up with a promotion when you get out of boot camp, and little things like that. That if you do those trainings or whatever, you just end up getting close with your recruiters. That they'll hook you up.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I won't forget. You came back with a Marine shirt, and I was like, "Hey man, what do I got to get to wear one of those?"
Yeah.
At that point, it was to support you, and be like, "Hey man, I'm here for it." And he said, "You have to come work out with us, and you'll get one after the workout."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, let me see where this, takes me." And at that point, it was like a buddy system too, if I remember correctly, to where
it was.
They
still do it. They still do the buddy system.
Okay, that's cool. I love that, to where one, you got me out there to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that workout was absolutely brutal.
It was.
And I was in shape, You were. It was very, my mindset is like, oh yeah, a workout, that's easy.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what we were passing, man. That there was something, we're running down a canal.
2 things, yeah.
And, person in the back runs up to the front.
The big pull-up bar.
Yes, that's right.
Probably 75 pounds.
Yes.
Just a big, probably 10-foot high metal pull-up bar.
Yeah, it's all ringing a bell now.
And then we had the rock of pain, like a big rock that we passed. And then I think you had a big, like a log.
I did.
It's like a big log.
I did. And it was more the passing side. I honestly felt like they were torturing me, because I'm new.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, this newbie, we're going to make sure we get him.
That's called hazing in the military.
Yeah.
We were hazing you.
I want to get into. And I'll be honest, I did, get to the point where I thought I was going to pass out. So the mental side started to kick in. And that's where the recruiters are like, you're good. You got it. I'm like, I'm about to throw up. And sure enough, there it was.
Yeah.
The best part was I kept that on my shoulders.
You did.
I kept that log there.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. They told me, don't drop it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm about to.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And then once I got done with the workout, man, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite shirts. Just for that alone, that completion, but also, knowing what you were going through. And that was just a little taste of you getting started.
Yeah.
So now I want to hit that side of boot camp. So all this stuff happened before boot camp. You're
right before boot camp. Yep.
Yeah. You're basically training, getting your mental right. And then physically too. Gosh, you were ready to go. I remember when you left, I was super confident that you were going to walk out being, at least in your mind, one of the best ones to walk out of there.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see the friendships too that you would make in there.
Yeah.
I was also excited to see you not punch anyone anymore. Also, Eric Rocha is known for a couple knockouts in our lifetime.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it, but that also got me in trouble still in the Marine Corps, as you know.
It did. You had a 4-year break from it. In a way.
Yeah.
But that was also, like I said, you were either going to be an MMA fighter in my mind, or you were going to go to the Marine Corps, and you definitely chose the best one. I definitely feel I haven't seen you lose a fight, so in my mind, you're undefeated. But
in my mind too, but I try not to. I want to hold that record, so no more. No more fights. No more fights.
All right, let's hit boot camp. So, what was your mindset on that drive down? So, you have two options when it comes to boot camp. You got San Diego.
You got one. Well, I mean, you have no options. If you're west of the Mississippi, you go to Camp Pendleton.
Okay, got it.
MCRD, San Diego. If you're east of the Mississippi, you go to
Parris Island.
Parris Island.
Okay.
It used to be only female, what we call recruits, would go to Parris Island, and because they had like female drill instructors there, and it was just totally separate. Obviously for obvious reasons.
Right.
But recently they've started integrating female drill instructors, and I even think they have like integrated platoons now where they have men and women in the same platoon. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I know they at least have female recruits and drill instructors in San Diego now, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, it was San Diego. It was a trip, man. So I went. I remember pretty vividly. I think went with my family. My family took me, dropped me off outside the recruiting station, and then basically everything you do up until you go to boot camp is through your recruiter. And so the recruiters took me to Sacramento, to that recruiting station, and we do a final whatever, check in, make sure everything's good to go, and then from there they put me on a plane. You fly by myself, fly down from Sac or wherever to San Diego. And
what was your thought process at that?
Here we go. This is it.
Yeah.
And I got good, bad, or indifferent. Depends on who you talk to. For me, I guess I got lucky. I never went to combat. I deployed and did like workups and went to other countries and things like that, but I was never in true combat, which is, like I said, for me, I mean, looking back at it now, obviously it's good. People in the military, depending on who you talk to, good, bad, or indifferent. I can tell you, none of my family, probably you, and none of my friends really wanted me to go. And people were like, dude, like to this day, like I think about, like, I wonder what would have happened. My grandparents were all like, dude, we'll all pitch in. Like, if you don't go, like, we'll pay for you to go to college, we'll get you a car, like whatever, whatever, you could stay here, like whatever, like just do not go to the Marine Corps. Everybody was just so nervous, and we were still at war, towards the end of it, but so anyways, in my mind, looking back at it now, I think it's obviously a good thing. I didn't have to experience that. We got a lot of people that do, and you got PTSD, which is a huge thing, and military, suicides is a huge ordeal. You got folks that are veterans still living on the street, and a lot of times that kind of stuff comes down to PTSD, not having the right kind of treatment and stuff like that. So, in my mind, it was a good thing that I never saw any combat. But anyway, so just kind of back to that. Then my family didn't want me to go.
Yeah. How long was boot camp?
It was 3 months. I think it's 3 months, which is Marine Corps is the longest boot camp out of all of them. So yeah, I'm just like, here we go. Because in my mind, that's what I'm preparing for, to go to war.
Yeah.
And when you get to boot camp, the drill instructors tell you, as soon as you get out, get out of here, you're going to Afghanistan. Like, if you don't listen, like, you're gonna die. Like we tell you this, like, you have to, you take 2 steps and then you turn right and whatever when you're drilling, or everything they teach you is like, you need to take these orders and do it like that, or you're gonna die.
Got it.
And it's like, okay, like, yeah,
got to start listening.
Yeah,
now.
so it's just a totally different mindset, and I loved boot camp. Boot camp was probably one of my favorite parts. I mean, I only did, it was a very short career, but to your point, a lot of exercise, a lot of pretty cool relationships. I don't know if you knew this about my boot camp experience or not, but obviously we went to San Joaquin Memorial, right? So one of the things that I got to do in boot camp was I was a Catholic prayer leader. So all of the recruits in my platoon that were Catholic, and even towards the end of it, even just anybody who was having a hard, and really what it came down to, if people were having a hard time, they would come talk to me.
Thanks, Miss Campbell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out to Miss Campbell, Miss Fry, all our religion teachers.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was. It was a little bit of a break, because every Sunday you got an opportunity to spend an hour and go to church, go to a service. You didn't have to. You could do other stuff. You didn't have free time, but you could iron your clothes or whatever.
Right.
Just do like a very small amount of things you're allowed to do.
Normal.
One of them is go to church, and that's where. And the thing about that is there's no drill instructors there. So everybody pretty much took that opportunity.
Everyone was Catholic at
to
that
go
point.
to, yeah, exactly. So that was a different kind of thing. I got to do that and built relationships with a lot of the Marines and stuff that were there. That to your point, I'm still friends with. I'm still friends with a lot of folks. And yeah, boot camp was great. A lot of exercise, a lot of training, just kind of the basics of what it is just to be a Marine. So before they put any of the other technical or tactical training on you, they tell you how to shave your face, how to make your bed, how to walk, literally, how to eat, how to drink. Like these are all things. That's the whole point. It's broken down into 3 phases. First phase, they break you down.
Yeah.
And you're a maggot, like you're a POS, like you don't know what you're doing, and you're screaming the whole time. I got all 4 of my tonsils taken out, Macaulay, and I was on bed rest for 1 day, and then the next day I was screaming at the top of my lungs, spitting blood out in my drill instructor's face, spitting blood out, and they're just taking it. These guys are hardcore, and that's another thing. Like you see the drill instructors and a lot of Marines after that, like they want to emulate that. They want to be like that,
right.
And then like that's why after like the first month or whatever after boot camp, you talk like those guys, and you want to be, so that was neat. That was a lot of fun. Came out of it and got to come home for 10 days, hang out with you guys, and let loose, man. Boy, we let loose,
man. Those were good times, honestly.
Yeah,
especially like before you left.
Yeah,
I remember there was altercation that you had. Mm-hmm. We were at Fresno State Plazos, and at that point you knew you were going. And so I felt like, oh, this is his last fight. Like, there's no way that this man's going to be fighting anyone else, just on a reputation aspect for the Marines too. Your mindset was changing. It included a boot to a famous person's chest.
I hate to do this. I really do.
Let's do it. Come on.
That fight was after I got out of boot camp.
What it was?
The fight you're probably talking about was the altercation. Sorry.
Yes.
The altercation you're talking about was there's a different one. Multiple. Wow. And I blame Bryce. Sorry, I don't know if I want to name drop. I blame Bryce Martino if he's listening.
It was.
Yeah.
I remember that thinking like,
I had my boots. I already had my combat boots.
So you had a boot that went to someone's chest, and he's in the NBA now. So it's a famous story. I
kickstarted his career.
You literally did.
Literally.
Broke the dude's rib because you put a boot into a man's chest. And I do remember after the, I guess there was a worry of, hey, what if they find out? I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't good.
Right.
That was the last one. Because before that there was another one in the Plazos too, to where I'm like, man, we got to stop this.
Yeah.
But
last one that you were around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that is accurate.
Unfortunately,
we'll talk about the end of the career situation too. But I want to talk about the brotherhood too.
Yeah.
Once obviously you had us here as your brotherhood. You knew once you came out of boot camp, no matter where you went,
right?
You had that support system of calling us. But what was the brotherhood like in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, that
you just right now that you could say that you love.
Yeah, I mean, so it's when I read that question, I hear that question, it's like 2 different things, because like when you're in, it's almost completely different than when you're out, because when you're in, you have those still, you have we'll say my platoon of like, I don't know, 20 people. And then we had that I worked with every day on like our similar tasks. And of those 20 people that I worked with very closely, and we would go out and spend weeks at a time or months at a time, even doing workups or deployments or whatever. They were all, they all had my back, but I still, just like us, we went to high school, you have a group of friends, you have a group of buddies, and you have a core group of, a handful, that tight circle of folks that'll do anything for you. Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing. You have that. I met a lot of friends, a lot of guys, a lot of girls too that just had my back through a lot of stuff while I was over there. Whether bringing Jessica over, when we got married at a really young age, and neither of us even had a car out there, and so we had one of my homegirls. Here, take my car, have my car.
There
you can have it for a week, have it for 2 weeks. You do whatever you guys got to do. I'll catch a ride. I live at the barracks anyways, or I'll run to work. Like it's no worries. And I'm like brand new to the company.
Where were you guys at that point?
Oh, so yeah, North Carolina.
Okay. Cherry Point
that was,
is
no. So Cherry Point is the air station, which is like 45 minutes north of where we were.
Okay.
We were in Camp Lejeune.
Perfect. Yeah, I was just trying to pinpoint exactly.
Which is Jacksonville, is the city, Jacksonville, North Carolina,
okay.
which is beautiful. Us being Cali boys, that was something that I took with me to over there and in the Marine Corps. Like even in, when you go to boot camp, you meet there's people from Texas, Colorado, there's people from everywhere, right? And so it's just a Cali boy. I'm proud of it. You guys are in my state, welcome, whatever, and North Carolina, it's pretty close, man. It's comparable. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So is South Carolina too. But you can get in the water there and like right now.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Not have to test it.
Yeah.
You could
just jump in there. Well, you might get bitten by a shark, which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
But the water is like bath water almost all the time. So it was a beautiful, beautiful town, and that's the other thing too. So the brotherhood was great. I have a lot of lifelong friends. Like I said, there's the sad part about it. The suicide awareness, the suicide prevention part of it. I also have a lot of friends that took their lives. A couple of friends and friends that have family members that have done that. So that's a big thing for me, and something that I try to see in people now. And folks, to your point, I used to get in a lot more fights. Used to be a lot more rowdy.
Right.
But now I really do, just try to, even especially with strangers, if I'm at somewhere, I try not to have that resting, face on. I want trouble. Yeah. I want trouble. Try to have a friendly face, and because you never know what people are going through.
Right.
Is the thing. I'm having this conversation with you, and I have no idea how your day started this morning or how your night ended last night. It could have been bad for all I know, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully, obviously we're best friends, so hopefully you would, I would know. You would tell me, but you don't know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You want to treat people with kindness, because you never know when you could have your last conversation with somebody.
Yeah. Especially with what you're saying, the war side of things, on top of being away from family. Obviously deployments, we'll get into that too.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol's a big thing in the military, unfortunately.
It is.
Got a lot of college-aged young men and women that they're under a lot of stress for their work, and they're working stressful environments, and they want to let loose. And the Marine Corps does, and the military in general too. They do a lot of good trainings, a lot of over the top trainings too. But they do a lot of trainings, and they make good, better, and different. They make a whole company of 500 Marines sit down and watch 50 slides in a PowerPoint about why not to drunk drive and all this stuff, and everybody's like, rolling their eyes and stuff like that. But it's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a big deal. So
unfortunate. There are ways that people can reach out. I see the suicide hotline.
Absolutely.
Is
100%.
One of the big things that is promoted on. I remember that as a kid, and always thinking why do they keep posting this? And it's your guys' career choice. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of moving parts that can just keep putting you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the mindset too, of knowing that there are people in your brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever it may be.
Having somebody to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be a close friend. It could be someone that you're only going to talk to once. I have a client that literally said that they were in Guam, and their way to vent was when they would stay there for a few days, and they're allowed to go, do whatever they want, basically. Right. You could stay on the boat, or you can go out there, just be safe, be careful. And his way of venting and getting through his process was just talking to a random stranger at the bar about what they're going through, what he was going through. Yeah. Hop back on the boat. Yeah. And his day was good. Yeah. So at that point, it kind of, there's a lot that goes on.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to deal with it, right? I mean, and that's the other cool thing about being in the military is you meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. It really gives you different perspectives. Joining the Marine Corps, 19, never left California. I had these blinders on, right? I saw the world, how I saw it. And meeting just a ton of people, met a ton of good friends. men, women, all these, even people that I didn't like, help shape me, because I had leaders that were like, what are you doing? Like, why are we doing this? Like, you driving morale down. Like people aren't going to want to do their job. We have to, it's not something where we can go find something else to do. We're stuck with this guy, and he's putting people in bad situations. He's putting people in awkward situations, and it makes you think, okay, this is somebody I don't want to be like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of really good examples of really good leaders, but also you get the other spectrum too. And it's like, okay, I don't want to be like this guy, whether I stay in or get out or whatever. This is somebody who I don't want to, shape my, who I want to be like.
Right.
So that was a good experience too.
I want to hit a couple topics that you mentioned. Your living situation, what you liked with your family before, and then you mentioned the barracks with your friend.
Yeah.
Did you stay on base? Were you off of base?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, so you utilized your BAH and all that.
A little bit of both.
So let's hit the topic of what you get as a benefit, even being 4 years. So some people, they're like, how long do I have to be in to get benefits?
Yeah.
So let's hit that. You went to school also. So go ahead, hit your BAH, and let's talk about the GI Bill a little bit on what you got school-wise.
Yeah, so for at least for the Marine Corps, I know it's different for other branches,
Correct.
but the Marine Corps is, like I said, I mean, we're very selective, and also very, how can I say this politely? I guess micromanaging. So, the Marine Corps needs to know exactly what everybody's doing, where everybody, and there's a reason for it. Mission readiness, right? If something were to pop off, the Marine Corps is always, first to fight, right? So there's a aspect of mission readiness. We need to know where all of our Marines are. We need to know that they're all healthy, that they're all, 20 miles within the base, so we can call them all back if we need to go deploy, next weekend or whatever else. So I understand that part, but it's always like, they need to know where you are. So for the Marine Corps, you have to live on base when you get in, or you have to live in the barracks unless you're married for your first enlistment. So then, or at least I think once you get promoted to a E5, which is a sergeant. Okay. And then, or unless you're married, you can live out off base, but you have to live at least in the barracks. Okay. And that's where all the hood rat stuff happens. So I was married, and we lived on base in North Carolina. That base was a little bit different because technically the on base housing was off base. Okay. You had to go off the main base and then go into the base housing element, and it was sweet. I mean, the benefit was depending on your rank, you would get anywhere up to like $1,200 extra bucks a paycheck. And obviously, as you probably know, that depends on where you live. So location,
dependency. So married, children. You get more that way, and then also your rank, like you mentioned already. Right. Those are the three things that BAH is based off of, and like you said, it's different in every location. Right. So you could be naming this amount, but you could live here at NAS Lemoore. It'd be maybe a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, because it's 1 year in California. Yeah. So it does cost. It does. You do get a little bit more here, but that's just for cost of living. Absolutely. So and keep going. Yeah. So we lived on base, and it was great. I mean, they took care of you really didn't have to worry about too much. So you don't worry about doing your own lawn. They got people come do your lawn, and people come wash your house, and you don't have to worry about people stealing your stuff or nothing crazy. It's a really safe environment. So the on base housing was great. You move off base, they bump up your pay a little bit more because now when you're on base, they just take that out of your paycheck and they give you a little bit more of an allotment for food, but you don't see the money that goes towards paying your rent, quote unquote. Got it. When you live off base, they actually put that money in your paycheck, and then it's up to you to obviously find your. And so so we spend it in the right area. Yeah, exactly. And so depending on how you do that, you can save a little bit of money, which is what we did. We found, it was just me and Jessica at the time. So we found a small place and saved a little bit of money. I love it. Yeah. GI Bill. So you went, when you were done, let's hit that too real quick. Dude, I'm trying to use my GI Bill. Haven't used it yet. Okay. I thought you were at City. I've gone back. I did. Okay. I did, but I didn't use my GI Bill. It's changing so much. I have to get back into it. I think I can give it to my kids 100% now. I love it. Or split it at least like somewhat between some of my kids. So I have to I actually called
Clovis Community the other day. I got to make an appointment to go in there and talk to one of those.
If you find someone
people
that knows it very well, let me know.
Yeah.
I'd love to get them on and have them talk about that side of getting you enrolled. It's a benefit for you.
It's a process. Man. Yeah, it's a great benefit. I'll tell you what, definitely anybody who's looking into it, call up your local like community college and get like a resource to help you out that's gone through it and been through it, because I've gone through it and tried to like fill out paperwork and I've got like denial letters literally.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, I had to have done something wrong,
right?
You know, or something. And a lot of people get discouraged for that and won't do it. Same thing for like the VA, right? The VA is a Veteran Affairs is a great system for, you know, healthcare for veterans. A lot of folks who are really severely disabled go in and get free healthcare for veterans. You know, I'm pretty lucky. I'm not, you know, severely disabled. I do have a lot of pain and things like that I got to deal with just from, you know, the 4 years there of humping with the big pack on uphill, you know, and all this kind of like, you know, a lot of training. That's really my favorite part about the Marine Corps was all the training that they give you, not just physical, but technical training and things like that. But the VA is another really good benefit that veterans can use to help, you know, better themselves. I was blessed with a pretty good job opportunity right out of the gate to where I didn't have to go back to college right away. But I know that's a lot of things. A lot of time, you know, single Marines will do that when they get out, go right to college, you know, and which is really good, which is great to see.
And what's your job now?
Now I am an IT supervisor for PG&E.
Look at that.
And so like I said,
4 years of the Marines.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you got some training enough to where was that job pretty simple as far as, hey, here's my resume, this is what I've done, and
so a lot went into it. So like I said, I mean, you can have, I don't know, it's probably 500 different jobs you can have in the Marine Corps. We call them MOSs. And so mine that I went in for was communication specialist, radio operator. So I went in and I worked on, I don't know, probably 12 or so different types of military communication system, where that just be like handheld walkie-talkie radio, satellite communication, radio communication, a lot of different types of, you know, different flavors of those, you know, main types of communication. And so that basically, you know, transferred over into what we call the private sector, which is anything not in the military, very easily. Obviously PG&E is a really great, awesome company, you know, on this side in California here, at least I think so. Bills are a little high, but great company to work for sure.
Yeah.
So that helped set me up for success for sure. I mean, look at, you know, and I look at, the description of like what the position was called a telecom tech. And I look at my resume and what I do. I mean, it's like, oh, this is it, you know, and there's a huge learning curve though, for sure. I mean, these guys, you know, for PG&E, I mean, it's, for one, you know, military, we're servicing, you know, battle operations, right? We're trying to make sure, you know, our commander has a secure line back to somebody to drop in an airstrike or do all this crazy stuff, whatever, which is totally different than making sure a utility company has, you know, serviceable telecommunication equipment. So the mission is different, but, you know, a lot of the technical perspective and a lot of the equipment is similar. So still, it absolutely took some training. I took classes at like City, but to your point, I just paid for those. The process was just too frustrating for me for the GI Bill. So I was okay. I need like 3 classes that I just need to take right now here. So I knocked those out, which helped me set up for PG&E. Helps to know people too. I knew a couple of folks that we went to high school with that were at PG&E that helped me get my foot in the door as a contractor. Shout out to the Savages, a great family. Love them all.
Those are good people right there.
They are, and you know, get my foot in as a contractor and worked my way up, and eventually was an employee, and after 5 years now a supervisor for my team.
Beautiful.
So it's it's going great, man. Life's good right now for sure.
I love it, man. All right, we're gonna end it on two questions. Very quick summaries.
All right.
So what ended your career in the U.S. Marines, unfortunately?
No, so you know what? That's a great question.
Give me like a very brief summary of that.
Well, I'll tell you what. My career ended really and truly because I didn't elect to try to re-enlist.
Okay.
I could have tried to re-enlist. Let's see, maybe a year before I got out. I was on deployment in the Republic of Georgia. I was 21, so, hot-headed, Marine, in quote unquote, beginning stages of my prime. I was just, full of testosterone, and was out, enjoying our time. Like we talked about, relieving some stress, and ended up getting into a drunken altercation with an officer. And definitely set me back.
It didn't end well.
Yeah. So and your family was very helpful through that too, for sure. With my just helping out with ease the pain for my family where they're back here like, what's going on?
Right.
So I got into a fight, spent some time in the brig, the military jail.
Oof.
met some crazy folks there, but again, opened up my eyes. Hey, this is not the kind of person I want to be around these people, because when I got into a drunken fight, these guys are murderers, these guys are rapists, at the worst kind of people, and I don't want to, I shouldn't be here with these folks. And so I read the Bible 3 times, cover to cover, but after that, I still could have re-enlisted. It would have been challenging. I would have had to get some waivers and things like that, just because I had that on my record.
Right.
But I could have done it. I chose not to. They might not have accepted me. I don't think at that time I was ready to face that, like go through it, and then they tell me no. I think that probably would have hurt me pretty badly.
Right.
But it all worked out anyways.
Yeah.
I got a good job, able to provide for my family right out of the gate, which is something that was really important to me. Obviously, getting out of the military and having a baby. Mason was just a baby at the time, so
I love it. I love it. We'll end it on, if someone were to come up to you and say, what is the pro of being a Marine, what would you tell them?
The pro of being a Marine.
Okay.
So I served my country, I served my community while I was there. Got to do a lot of neat things, meet a lot of great people around the world. And set me up for success to where now I make an influence again in my community with PG&E, locally and across, PG&E territory. And, it set me up for success. So definitely would recommend, the military, the Marine Corps, absolutely, to young men and women. And to your point, set you up with benefits that not other jobs give you, like housing, BAH, GI Bill when you get out. So it's a
VA, 0% down on your home.
VA loan. I know. Yeah. As soon as I'm ready to set my roots down, I'm calling you.
Dude, let
I'm
us
calling
know.
you for sure.
You already know we got a team ready for you.
You bet.
But man, thank you for coming again. Honestly.
Yeah, brother.
Appreciate
Thanks for
hearing
having
the
me.
stories, getting a little further in depth with you.
Yep.
Also, I always end it with thank you for your service. It's much appreciated. Short term, long term, however long it could be. We appreciate that here as a family and as a company.
Yep.
So, and for all those listening, also thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
You bet, brother.